plan for Trevor this week, practice-wise?
Trevor will be out. We just decided this week he's getting close, but to make sure that, again, you guys know how I am with injuries. We don't want to put a player out there that's not 100%. So we're gonna rest him one more week.
It just makes sense going into the bye week to give him 2 weeks essentially.
It does, and we got some time.
You think he'll be ready to go after the bye week, or is that still a question?
Still a question mark, but I'm optimistic. Yeah.
Another week for Mac Jones. What's the confidence level after having a week under his belt?
It's high. He's excited to have another opportunity. Obviously, a chance for him to rebound, from last week. But I think as a team, same way, rally around him and support him and get ready to play a really good football team.
Make it easier. He's going to get all the first snaps in practice. Does that make it preparing?
Yeah.
What's he do well, Doug? I mean, what does he give you to work with?
Mac?
Yeah.
One, he's a veteran quarterback, so he's played. He's started in this league. He knows how to handle that. I think, two, leadership-wise with the guys, you see him communicate with the players, on and off the field, with us as coaches as well. I think the third thing is how well he does communicate with us when it comes to the game plan, what he likes, what he doesn't like. And then just his overall work ethic, how he prepares, for these games. I think, really gives him the best opportunity, playing in these games.
Ezra, his status, and then Mason Smith, since I know those two guys, you said about a week or two.
Yeah, Mason, both guys actually should get back into practice today, under a limited basis, so we're looking forward to that.
They're one of those franchises that seems to have a real identity. They draft to it, they build to it. How beneficial can that be when you're, for any team in the league to have something definitive that you're building around, whether it be the head coach's personality and, his penchant for wanting to do things in a certain way?
Yeah, I mean, obviously I'm not in that building, but I think it's what every team strives to do. Everybody has a plan, and you stick to that plan. Sometimes it doesn't always come to fruition, but you have a plan needless, and they've done it well, obviously, and they made some good trades over the years, and obviously Goff was a big acquisition, and they've done well.
Trevor's not having. You talked the other day about no surgery for Trevor. Not sure where that's coming from, but that's kind of been reported out there. I'm just wondering, never come up with you?
Not with me. And again, I think that's a question for our medical team. Obviously, it's not my place to say, and I have no idea where it's coming from.
What sort of problems does that Lions offense present for defense?
What now?
What sort of problems does the Lions offense present to a defense?
Lions offense. I thought you were talking about their offensive line. Well, obviously it's a big play offense, right? It's opportunities to push the ball down the field, play action pass. That's something that Goff has been good at, even when he was in LA. I think that's something that the movement game. But again, it all kind of stems off their run. I think it starts there, and one of the things that. You look at the tape last week, Houston did a pretty good job of sort of, stopping the run a little bit. And they were able to disrupt Jared, and get him off his spot. I think those are all key things that you got to be able to do, and, tip passes, things like that cause some turnovers. But this offense is opportunistic. It's another team that is not shy about pushing the ball down the field when they can.
How much do you attribute maybe some of Mac Jones's mistakes or, whatever, to rustiness, not having been in full game action for almost a year?
Well, I mean, obviously you're during it's in the regular season, so it's hard. You hate to say that, right? You hate to say the word rust and all that stuff, but look, he's been in big games before. He knows how to handle them. I would expect that he's gonna rebound this week. Learn from it, obviously, as we all are, and and move forward.
What does Mason Smith need to do to get on the field, first off, like to take that next, to be ready?
Just keep being Mason, keep showing, just keep working in practice during the week, and obviously, now that he's getting healthy again, I mean, it's he'll be in the mix each week, and just showing the consistency of his job and how he handles that in practice.
Hutchinson, but what's the personality now of this Detroit defense without him out there?
It's the same group. I think it's a really good unit. They're good up front. It's a fast flow defense. Obviously, they can be disruptive up front. I think their two tackles inside are good players, big physical guys, and their linebackers can run. And really, that's just again a unit that's playing well together. That's what you see on tape, and when they do that, they can. That's where they can play fast and really, keep offenses down. I mean, do teams score and do teams gain yards against them? Sure, but they've also been able to stymie some guys and get after quarterbacks and create some takeaways.
This past week, your tight end unit had about 13 targets. Wide receiver unit had about 7. Was that something specific to the game plan? That's something you guys saw going into the week? How did that work out?
Yeah, I mean, sometimes it just works out that way. You'd like it to be the other way, but it just worked out that way. There's going to be games where the receivers are definitely going to get more, activity. It just depends on how the game goes. So, and plus the other thing too is you're looking for, opportunities to spark your offense and get the ball out and different things like that. And tight ends seem to be the place to go at times.
You mentioned last week about the importance for Mac of having a running game, and for whatever reason that did not transpire last week. What are your expectations, hopes for the running game this week? Because it just seems like without one, Mac's just he's really swimming upstream with that.
Yeah, I mean it's. I think every quarterback in the league would say the same thing. Like the ability to run the football just helps everything else out, right? It slows the rush down. It creates passing lanes off of play action, movement, quarterbacks out of the pocket. It just helps everything, right? And so having a run game to help Mac that way, I think is big, and it's something that we've got to this week I think be better at.
Is it tough to manage the guys' emotions? I mean, it's been that kind of season, and then you're without your quarterback going against a team that's been rolling over people through the NFC so far this season. Is it tough to kind of manage that going in?
No, it's really not. It's a great group of guys. This is week 11. Guys haven't really had a break, obviously, and they keep grinding. And are we defeated, disappointed, discouraged? I mean, there's moments of that, obviously, because of the way the season's going, but by no means are they, quitting or lack of energy or wanting to improve, get better as a team. I still see that, every single day, and it's credit to those guys.
When teams are favoring coverage towards Brian the way they have been lately, what are some ways you can kind of still get them involved and maybe even manufacture targets, or is it just maybe putting too much on rookies' plate to ask for that?
No, I don't think it's too much. I think, you can put them in stacks, bunches. You can move them around the formation a little bit. Do some things that way. It's, the only downside to it is the offense has to be stationary at the snap, so defense can still move and get lined up as well. So, do the best we can to move them around the formation, and then, on Brian to obviously, know that he's going to be doubled at times, and he's just going to have to work to, get himself free.
Not sure how many people you know in the Detroit organization, but the way that they built this thing, how, they kind of came in from ground zero, wiped everything clean. Dan has the press conference about biting kneecaps, and probably some people wrote them off as a little eccentric, and now you look at where they are now. What do you make of how they built that organization essentially from scratch over the last 3 to 4 years?
I mean, I go back to probably the early, Jimmy Johnson days with the Cowboys, right? I mean, he took over a franchise that was 1-15 or 0-15, 0-16, something like that, and within 4 years, they're competing for championships. And obviously they've done things well there. They draft well. Free agents have all been a big part of it. It's the more success you have, he's going to lose coaches. He's going to bring new coaches in. Faces are going to change. But I think there's just the one thing that I think when you look at Dan and really the teams that have had success, it's consistency. It's just doing the same things every single day. Message is the same. The guys work the same. And the players buy in, and then when you win, because I've been on that side of it, when you win, everything's great, right? Everything is, it's not easy, but it feels easy, and that's probably where they are right now.
Can you live with the way that your defense is playing in a game against Detroit? In other words, they're giving up yards, but they're breaking serve here and there. They did it against Philly at the end with the stop that set up the field goal that was a miss. And last week with the takeaways. I mean, can you live with that? Can you find a way to win when your defense is giving up a lot of yards and on the field too much?
Yeah, I don't think it's a sustainable recipe. I mean, you look at the last, I think, 3 games, they're averaging close to 80 snaps a game. I mean, it's a lot on the defense. But again, credit them. You hold a high-powered offense to 4 field goals, right? You're toe-to-toe with a chance to win against the Eagles. You come back against a good Green Bay team, and tie that thing at the end of the game. So, is it? I don't think over the course of a season is that sustainable. Probably not. But the way they're playing, yes, it is. I mean, they're playing good football. And honestly, a lot of defenses are that way. They're gonna kind of the bend, but don't break mentality. And it's kind of the way the league is. I think the parity of the league and the way teams are today. So, can we live with the way the defense has been playing? Yeah, but then we've got to do our part offensively. Now to score and to move the ball.
There seemed to be a noticeable difference between the Vikings game and the Eagles game as far as the secondary rotation was concerned. With Andre Cisco playing around 67% of the snaps and Antonio Johnson getting more of the snaps this past week, is that something that you kind of foreshadow going forward? Is that package specific?
No, I think it's something you'll see more and more of. I think it's you've seen it with Darby and Monteric. You see it with the D-line. I think you see it with the linebackers, right? I mean, you see these guys rotating. I think you have to do it this time of year. Bodies and minds are tired, and it's a way of trying to keep guys as fresh as possible. So I think it's something you'll see, more and more each week.
Thanks, Coach.
All right.